about running an embassy. I have no idea of being ambassador extraordinary plenipotentiary who speak in the name of my government. And believe me, when I received the letter of credence that I was to present to the king, I was a little bit uneasy, a little bit afraid, because what is said in that letter about me was more than what I am. But I say, okay, I'll take the challenge. I came here, report to the ministry. I was supposed to have some kind of diplomatic orientation somewhere, 1 month, 2 months, to see how embassies are run. But I was given just a chance to go to Dakar. In the embassy, there was Ambassador Wada, he's a good friend of mine. But again, very little. But thank Allah, in my background as a scholar, as a researcher, I learned very quickly what diplomacy is all about, how you can run an embassy, how you can promote good relation between your country and others, and how you protect your countries.
Let me ask this specific question. In the whole of your diplomatic career, would you quote one incident that you think really presented the most challenging diplomatic nightmares for you?
The most difficult part is that when we came to assume the chairmanship of this reconciliation committee, Iran decided to boycott OIC and its own mediation effort. In protest that the Secretary General and the whole OIC is biased. They are supporting Iraq, who's the aggressor, and they failed to identify who is...
So you got a credibility problem with Iran?
It's a credibility problem with Iran. Iran refused to see us.
And in diplomacy, that's a nightmare.
No, it's a nightmare. So I stepped in as a new ambassador. My first task is to get Iranian to talk to us. And it took a long time and very difficult. I can tell you, I went out of the diplomatic channels to invoke the assistance of people I know before.
There are important issues that I think we have to talk about before we end this interview, given your background and your full of experience, distinct as a diplomat, all the things that are happening in the world now. Islam, some believe, has an image problem.
Well, Keba, let me tell you one thing. Islam doesn't have an image problem, but Muslims have. It's not Islam. Islam, I give you some literature here, and I'll give you more. Islam is properly understood and completely applied would help to solve human problems. And I think our misunderstanding of Islam, our misinterpretation of Islam, and our approach in the name of Islam to the world problem, this is the basic problem we're facing now. Let me give you one example. You cannot deal with anything without having a definite definition of it. Islam is a religion, we say it's a religion of peace. But Islam is a religion of knowledge. We have to have a definition of knowledge first. What is knowledge that Islam would like us to promote and to spread? The better definition of knowledge is that knowledge is a characteristic of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. You have to start knowing Allah before you know what He creates. You know Him through His creation. But you have to understand that He creates from nothing and He maintains, sustains what He creates. How does He maintain what He creates? He maintains what He creates through man, through human being. Human being is being created in a special form and in a special perspective. He's the only creature who's capable of knowing what the Creator wants in His creation. In other words, He's the only one who knows the purpose of creation and the object of creation and how you maintain what He creates.
But Professor, what's your position in this so-called global war on terror?
Now, let me tell you, let's start with the globalization itself. I have written extensively on the globalization. I think I will try to get some of my globalization. Globalization is a creation of a global village in which you have only one culture, only one market, only one political system. If you go outside of this circle, you are in trouble. That is why in globalized world, we don't have means to compete. In the market, you need capital, you need production capacity, you need access to the market, you need means to service your product. No, we cannot compete at that level. In the political level, it's a free democracy. Free democracy. People who control free democracy are the people who have means, have money, have influence, have political, have organization. We cannot compete with them on that. In the financial level, they control everything. That is why this war on global terror is a part of the whole system that this global village would like to control everything.
So how do you then equate globalization and Islam?
No, Islam is a globalization. Islam is globalism.
Then let me put it this way. Where do you draw the fine line between Islam and modernity?
Okay, modernity, if you understand modernity of change, modernity is modernized change.
I want to know the bone of contention here, the point, the underlying.
I will tell you what. There's no contradiction, there's no conflict between Islam and modernity. What is the problem is the concept of modernity itself. If to modernize, to globalize, to change the fundamentals of belief and practice in Islam, Islam will reject it. But the modernity and globalization is to develop what exists for the benefit of humanity. Islam is for it.
But then are you suggesting, Professor, that globalization has brought about a kind of situation where there is an inherent bias in the global order? One side is disadvantaged, and I would assume that is who is the weaker of the two sides, because here is an equation.
Now here you have North and South.
You said we don't have the capacity to compete, to challenge.
You have North and South. You have developing world and developed world. Developed world has capacity to control all means of development. They can allow you to develop, and it's already repeated. And I think our head of state is doesn't mince his word. This developed country would not help you to develop. You have to develop yourself. There's what you call intellectual hegemony, which is behind the question of globalization.